Despite whatever controversies Nintendo may or may not find themselves in, even with some of those games having faults, most can generally agree, Nintendo can make good games. E3 came and went, Nintendo dropped plenty of announcements of games coming soon, and the second half of this year is looking very solid now, but it's also got me thinking about their 2022 as well, what they got in store for next year. And it's kinda weird, because it at least feels like since the Switch started, Nintendo doesn't disclose a whole lot of details regarding their titles for the following year, especially with its first half. They like to save announcing those during the year while it's still going, but at this moment, there's already a good handful of primarily first-party games that paves a solid roadmap for 2022. And yet there's a good chance we have a bunch of other announcements we haven't even got yet, whether going into this fall and the likely fall direct, or going into next year. The anticipation's kind of exciting. Like the first half of this year, in hindsight, it's kind of lackluster a little bit. That tends to be a running theme of the Switch. Most first halves of its years don't really tend to be that strong outside, I think, 2017, maybe 2019. But since E3 2021, Nintendo's got the second half of this year basically filled up. Mario Golf came out today, we got a new Warioware coming, new Metroid, a Mario Party, Shin Megami Tensei 5, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl remakes, Advance Wars remakes, and all these third parties too, basically filled to the brim. Basically. But like, we're going into early next year, and we're already getting another Pokemon game with Legends Arceus. And I believe the general consensus for most people regarding that game is relative excitement and anticipation. Some will probably say the game looked a little rough and could use some ironing out performance and graphics wise. I'd probably agree, and we've yet to get any further details since the first trailer. But it's a solid chance the game will both sell well, since this will likely be the new norm for Pokemon games moving forward, and at least pre-release be met with general excitement, since this kind of scope and gameplay expansion is something a lot of people were anticipating and hoping for with Pokemon. But either way, massive big new Pokemon that'll shape the future for the franchise, hopefully it goes well, and the rest of it's all unknown release dates, but is all slated for 2022. And I forget this one half the time, but Splatoon 3 is a thing that exists. And them announcing that as early as they did fills me with curiosity, because we got that trailer basically at the beginning of this year. And yet, we're not going to hear more about this game until we likely get into next year. Maybe the fall direct, but I'm semi-doubtful. I wish I played the first two games. Game was fun from the little bit I played of Splatoon 1, but it's Splatoon. It's been growing super duper huge since it was new 6 years ago. It's basically become along a similar scale of Animal Crossing or even Mario or Zelda in terms of rapid success and performance. I can imagine a lot of people are eagerly awaiting Splatoon 3 and wondering what new things it'll bring to the Splatoon formula. And now, Mario plus Rabbids is getting a sequel. I've already ripped apart all my thoughts and feelings on Sparks of Hope. The game looks amazing and is at this moment my most anticipated game of 2022. But that is technically another Mario game. I know it's Ubisoft making it, so it's another third party, but the Mario branding's still all over it. A lot of people do see it as another Mario game, and Kingdom Battle did do incredibly well. 7.5 million, better than Mario Maker 2 and most third parties on the Switch. Some would argue the novelty of the idea of the Rabbids and Mario crossing over has wore thin, because the spectacle and sheer ridiculousness of that idea is what made Kingdom Battle so weirdly interesting to begin with, until we got a look at the game, which turned out to be very good as well. So that initial zany factor with the crossover dynamic might wear itself decently thinner, even if they expand more ideas with this in terms of crossover potential, like we got Rabbid Rosalina now, maybe other Mario characters will come in, but still, a lot of people are heavily on board with Sparks of Hope. It's got like nothing but love and support since Kingdom Battle came out, so here's to another major third-party / Mario game coming. And the obvious one, Breath of the Wild 2. That's another big title coming likely towards the end of the year. And it begs me curious if this is a game that will come out next year, or meet some delays like the first Breath of the Wild did, especially with COVID. Aonuma did say development is progressing steadily, so I have to wonder how much of it is steady, and if this sequel will follow what Odyssey did with its PR, because we didn't even know Mario Odyssey's main mechanic being Cappy's capture ability until E3 of 2017, and the main mechanic of this game has yet to be shown. Or big mechanic / story detail. I'm unsure specifically what he said regarding that. Point is, they have more stuff they're hiding for Breath of the Wild 2. And I think that's indicative of how much this game will have compared to the first Breath of the Wild, and the potential time frame between its current development and release. Regardless, they said 2022, so let's see if they'll stick to that. There's also Project Triangle Strategy, Square Enix making another HD 2D RPG like Octopath for the Switch, which Octopath did do solid for a new, temporarily exclusive RPG. 2.5 million is solid for that, and Project Triangle Strategy might reach a similar volume or audience since Octopath is obviously being used as inspiration, and this is Square. They're usually good with their RPGs. But picture everything I just said. These are all currently known titles that are slated for 2022, and most of these are all very likely to slap themselves on shelves within 2022. We got what I believe is a new exclusive RPG by Square Enix for the Switch, a new influential Pokemon that's likely shaping the series for the future, a new Splatoon game, a technically new Mario game that's also a new Rabbids game, a new Zelda that's the sequel to the biggest game in its series. Like, I'm kind of stretching it a little with Mario plus Rabbids if you want to play semantics, but that's essentially 4 out of Nintendo's top 5 most popular, successful, biggest games these past few generations. The only one not in there being Animal Crossing, which New Horizons will probably get updates. They got a lot of heavy-hitting first parties already lined up for next year they can easily stretch out, and that's all stuff we know. We have no clue for Nintendo's other plans for 2022, and other games they have in the oven. They confirm they do have other stuff planned and developed, it's just at this moment, halfway before 2022 starts, we don't know what it is. Soon to change going into fall this year and the start of next year, but yeah. This reminds me of 2017 in that year started with a trailer showing off all these soon-to-come games, and most of it was within that year. The Switch came out, we got a new humongous Zelda, Mario Kart 8 got ported and expanded, we got a new IP with ARMS, Splatoon got a sequel, Mario and the Rabbids crossed over into one of the biggest third parties on the system, we got a spanking new 3D Mario, Xenoblade got a new game, Fire Emblem got a Warriors game. Like, I'm sure most people think and agree 2017 was the best year for the Switch so far because of all the insane third and primarily first party stuff we got. And most of that stuff was announced at the very beginning of 2017. And now, we have almost every top big first party that practically carry the company for 2022. Yet Kirby's anniversary is also next year. The developers at HAL recently talked about how they want to do something big for the next Kirby, and they want to innovate it, likely alluding to a big Kirby game coming relatively soon. On top of it's been a while since the last main Kirby game, and we get those pretty consistently. There was Fighters 2, but they do treat those as smaller titles, and Star Allies was over 3 years ago too, so there's solid reason to suspect a new Kirby game could be in the works. Mario Golf's also confirmed to be getting updates, so that game will get more content going into next year most likely. There's also the enigma that is Metroid Prime 4 and Bayonetta 3, and for both those games, at the very least, a trailer seems relatively possible. Us knowing more about those big games could still be big in of themselves. I doubt, at least in Metroid Prime 4's case, it'll release next year. It sounds like Prime 4's scale is going to be that much bigger and time/cost consuming. So who knows until we get a peek at the game, with Bayonetta 3 being an even bigger enigma, but coming up to the 4-year mark of not knowing anything else since that game's teaser, I'd have to imagine there's gotta be some big trailer announcement in the near future somewhere. And even on the announcement spectrum, it'd still be big and hype for a lot of people, kinda like what Prime 4 was when it was first announced, heightened further if we got gameplay. And there's even more great possibilities, like could we get a new Donkey Kong game next year, maybe a teaser for the next 2D or 3D Mario, or maybe an ARMS sequel, or maybe a new Mario Kart, or maybe with 2D Metroid coming back, maybe there's plans of putting F-Zero, Star Fox, or Kid Icarus back in the relevant spectrum of games, and all the vast third-party stuff. Dragon Quest is getting stuff that'll likely swing to the Switch. Sonic's getting a new game next year too, and there's already Mario plus Rabbids, which is third party. Like, my point is, with this video, is I'm excited for Nintendo's 2022. Amongst the known spectrum of games, there's a lot of strong first-party contenders, and there's plenty of potential room for other unknown first-party games, and there's plenty of room for third-party stuff, like there usually is. Does this tingle your excitement for Nintendo's 2022 even more? Any other games you might want to come out in 2022 that I didn't discuss, that Nintendo could also bring back into the relevant spectrum of light? Chat about it in the comments, as I am curious about next year the closer we get. Thank you for watching, have a wonderful day, stay hydrated, stay gorgeous, and stay super.
Yo, hey, 妹妹，嘿，我来呀，共和大哈哈呀，拉面，嘿，来面，来个面，共和再见呀，哈哈，拉面，下手面，谢谢。